Okay guys, so that's a just short video to look at the MADRS Mediform to see how it's recording things and how it could do it potentially better, or in a way that will give you more appropriate information on the file. So that's a first thing in terms of patient demographics. Yeah, the question is, do you really need it, and should you be able to edit it? Because usually you wouldn't be editing from the point of consultation that name is wrong or date of birth is wrong, and you have it here anyway. So I would probably get rid of that altogether, because I don't think there's a need for that. In terms of how you want to have your Mediform laid out, if you prefer with next and pick different things, that's fine. So we will click some random scores here. So of course it's not calculating now. I'm not sure what this thing on the side was supposed to do. Is it supposed to give you your actual result? But then the most important thing is, when you finish, you can see that nothing really saved other than patient's demographics. That doesn't help really, because then this item, first name, last name, that should be really saved only here, right? That should be only in your admin part rather than in each and every consultation. So if we go to edit it, so we go to edit Mediform. This is where you can decide what saves and what is just shown. So here you can decide that yes, initialize taking first name last if you prefer to have it that way, but untick save in HCR. There's no need, I think, for this data to be saved in each transaction, because that just messes with your data. So we will untick all of that, so you can still see it if that's the way you prefer to do it, but it's gone. Then date, yeah, that's appropriate. Completed by, this is the option, so this particular surgery put their doctor's names, that's of course okay. If you want to save it in data, just save it as what? So probably save it as doctor, right? There's an item doctor, so you can save it as doctor. Then next page, those things are not saved at all. So we need to give them a name. Now, the options are either to give them a name and save each question separately. However, if you have 4 options for each question, that might create a lot of noise. So what you might be more interested in is actual overall score. So saving it as in bulky object might be better, because it will save it. It will save it in the transaction, but it will not be showing any actual result, meaning that if you were to reopen the Mediform, it will remember what was the answer. And then what will be really important here is to remember what name, or to write down what name equals what score, because we'll have to write a small code here in the script part. So this is where we write an actual code to calculate the result. So the name Medi checkbox here, I would be changing it to something that helps us understand what it is. So like Q1A0, question 1 and answer result 0. And equally here, so Q1A2, because we know that we need to add 2 then, and it'll be easier for us to remember. Q1A4, and here Q1A6. And actually, just thinking about that, the choice of this checkbox item here, that would mean that when I actually run the Mediform, I am able to pick few or all of them. So we rely on user being smart enough to know, okay, just pick one. On the other hand, what you could potentially do is to create a group box, and then within this group box pick radio buttons instead. So then when you have few radio buttons within the group, what that will cause is that only one can be from the box, only one can be selected. If you select one, that unselects the other automatically. But yet each of them has individual name, and we need individual name for purpose of writing the code, because technically you would be able to use radio group here, but in the radio group the problem is that you put items values here, and it's more difficult to use that than in the actual code, right? So you'll see it has the same principle. You can only pick one from the other, but the benefit of the first option is that you can see here I have my name, so it can be again question 1, and I write A and S rather than just A, because the things can't have the same name, and we use Q1, or we can use here now just 1 A0. We know that's question 1, right? Oh, it crashed. Okay, so I started doing thing from the scratch really for two reasons. One, it's much easier for me to know what are exact numbers, and two, I personally don't like screens when you have to click through multiple kind of levels of it or parts. So I prefer to have it all in one screen I can see, and I think it'll be easier also to calculate the automated score. So I opened MD Calc on the side here, and I can play and copy paste essentially from it my results. So I have this this option I showed you before, right? So this is the bar, the box I used to group my radio buttons. So I have that here already, and I named it Q1. So that's a name of the thing from coding perspective. What is shown, it's your caption. So caption is apparent sadness, because that's symptom or sign that we're looking for from the score. And what I put inside then is separate radio buttons for each answer, because I want it to have different name for coding. So I give encoding hint for myself that the number here, so question 1 answer 0, meaning you get 0 points for it, just to make my life easy. So I remember later when I code that, okay, A0 equals add 0 points to the score, whereas if it's A1, that means add 1 point to the score. And so I carry on with things. So this is again question 1 answer, and that is now 4, and I put my caption, and so I go carry on with all the questions from the side here, and once I do it, I will not bore you with this video. I'll just do it, I'll stop the video, do it later, and I'll show you how to write an actual code to calculate your result and put it somewhere nicely for you. Right, so now I have this part of the screen really filled with all the questions and answers from the MD Calc version of the calculator. So now we need to sum it up and then interpret results. So I found this interpretation table, so that's what we'll be basing interpretation on, but first we have to have a number. So each of those, as you remember, are saved in a way that question 1 answer 0 means 0. So then we have to code it all. And I typically first prepare code in a kind of notepad thing to throw it later to the script part of the Mediform. So it might be easier to see both of them together to interpret it. This part tells HealthOne what kind of quote-unquote modules to take in I didn't really go myself into too much details of that. I just stole this specific things from other Mediforms. Procedure name, that means that when this procedure below is triggered, wrong, otherwise. You have object inspector here, Mediform, and events say what procedures to be triggered on center event. So in that case, on click of this field, I want this procedure to start, and what this procedure means is essentially what's written here. So when I click this option, any of those, I need to code each of them separately, of course, like that. Then this code will be run. And going bit by bit, var, that's your variable. And my name of my variable is score. And I tell HealthOne that my score is integer, meaning it's always full number. And I begin my script. So first I want to calculate the score. So first what I want to do is I want to make sure that score starts always at 0. So that line means that score is zeroed. Reason being, if I haven't done it before, and if first I choose 6 and then 5, and now just adding lower down in code, it will not be able to deduct to reduce the score. So that's why it's always zeros. And if you make any change, then the rest of the code will run. So if question A, answer 1 is checked, then add 1 to the score. Increment score by 1. If question A, answer 2 is checked, then what that bit really means is to score that you already calculated, I wanted to change it to score plus 2, meaning add 2 more to what you have already, and equally lower down, right? So I will have to complete, oh, it's only to 5, this should be till 6. So I will have to do the same thing, copy paste, and just change to make sure that each and every option is taken account of, right? So I'll have question 2, and again from answer 1 to answer 6. And then in the end, what we will do is we need to have this result shown with some meaningful value. So this is showing us what result is. It's only partial, as you can see, because it doesn't have enough options. But if it's below 9, then depressive symptoms absent. This is our quotation. So this description will go to caption, meaning to what is seen on the item result. So if I go here to Mediform, you see, oops, I added one more label by accident. You will see that this is my result. This is the item named result. So this word result will be replaced with this if the score was below 9. The next line, if the score is greater than 8 but lower than 18, then this result will show mild depressive symptoms, and so on. We'll have to add it on. And then to give you actual number, you have another thing here called score number. So score number caption will equal score. So whatever score is calculated at the end as a number, this is what will be shown here. So at the moment you appreciate it's just skeleton. I'll show you all of it when I'll finish. But now nothing is selected, therefore this is whatever was name of the Mediform, caption of Mediform. But if I click 0, immediately you have total score 0 and interpretation depressive symptom absent. If I click here, that's score 1. For rest is not coded to trigger an action. That's why you can only see 0 and 1 for the moment. But we'll have to work on the code to make it calculate each and every option now. Okay, so we moved fast forward, and you can see I have it coded for every question. So question 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hopefully there's no mistakes, and calculated all the scores. So I copied the code and pasted it here. So now it's the time to check if it actually works fine. So I run the tool. We have 0. Oh, error calculating because it's 0, is it? No, so we know already I messed up the report. 7, 8, but 9, 10. Otherwise it looks fine, I think. 12, 13, 14. 24. Okay, so let's try to explore what did I mess here else. Let's try to comment just this. Why is it going to the else straight away if it met the criterion? So we go to 6 here, 12. That's... oh, I think I remember what were the results. So 8 up to 8, that's considered okay. Here go, absent 9, it jumps to mild. So my last line of code there was faulty. 18. We check this up to 24. That should move to moderate. So my code is wrong there. Alright, so a few patients later and few tries after, you probably noticed error. I wasn't focusing at all, so my problem was in description, so in the quotation here, so it all said mild, so the code was actually written well, but my mistake was that I went into the rabbit hole of trying to see, okay, what did I done here wrong in terms of using and using different logical conditions here to give me good result. But anyway, now it should all work nicely. So 6 absent, 12 mild, 18 moderate, and we go all the way up to 36 severe symptoms, right? So now we did not save anything because it should be only saved in file, I think. What's relevant is score. So if we want to save something, we save in HCR, ideally as a code. Do we have Montgomery? We don't have Montgomery. MADRS score. Here we go. Magic. MADRS score. We have it here. So the reason why we use that is if you use a coded item, if you do the same questionnaire later in time, you will be able to compare your result to previous results. So you'll be able to see the trends just like with blood pressure, just like with a pulse. So that really is the most important bit of it. So if you were in need to do any calculators yourself, there will be Mediform exported from here. You can play with this code and steal it and copy it and paste it to wherever you want. Just remember that the names really are important, and the names meaning name of the item, and then in Object Inspector you have to go to Events and on click activate the calculate score, so the name of your script, so it actually worked. Hope that was helpful and enjoy building your own Mediforms. Alright, so there is one more thing I just noticed now when I was testing the Mediform and how it saves. Specifically, it was insufficient in those things to click bulky object. I had to give it a name, or else it wasn't saving your answers. Now the good thing about it is you just have to do it in one place, and then automatically it'll remember that that's your option for all of those. So now that is fixed. I added some title. We have our score number that is as a code MAD score, and I also decided to give it context for somebody who's just quick looking at the file to code result, but here I use text and I named it MADRS comment because it's really irrelevant. You want to be doing trends on MADRS comment. What really matters for your trends and any audits, anything like that, is actual number, actual score. So here I don't care that it's a text, not a code. and now really it is ready. So if you run it, it will give you a nice bold score. If you do your calculations, you do OK, you have your comment, you have your score, and that file, that essentially is where your answers are stored. Meaning when I double click on the score and open it again, it will remember what exactly answers were. It doesn't really matter to use your score. What it matters for more, so I would think, is medical legal context, that you can prove that, well, look, I asked those questions, those were the answers. So yeah, enjoy.